Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 43rd annual BDPA National Technology Conference and Diversity Career Fair. Nothing like having a tech conference with a little tech challenge on the front end. So it feels like home already. So so sorry for the little delay on the front end of this experience, but certainly looking forward to an action-packed 2.5 days of getting an opportunity to engage with each other in this virtual landscape, and more importantly, growing together. The team has spent a ton of time curating experiences from a digital transformation perspective, career development, entrepreneurship, our youth engagement, our career fair across the board. We work hard to ensure that there is something with you in mind. So we certainly hope that you enjoy the conference this year. It's not too late to tell your friends and enemies that the BDPA 2021 is live, and they too can engage with us. I'm Terry Morris. I serve as the national president for BDPA. It has been my pleasure to serve in this capacity for the last 3.5 years. This is my fourth conference serving as the national president, and it is certainly been one of my life's joy to date, to be able to serve in this with this great organization, to help do what we've been doing for nearly 50 years, advance careers from the classroom to the boardroom. So this morning, I have the great and esteemed opportunity to kick us off and engage with a few of our partners, and we'll culminate this morning's experience with a keynote from one of my friends and big brothers. I'm gonna be kind this morning because he'll get to speak after I speak, so I'll be thoughtful. But we'll have an opportunity to hear from our one of our co-founders, Earl Pace. We will also hear from the sponsor of this keynote experience in our opening ceremonies, I should say, Molson and Coors, Michael Norman, and then we'll get into to the keynote with Tim Coleman and one of my other good friends, Decatur Webster, introducing him. Let me start with a bit of a conference overview, and then I think we'll get into a bit of an intro from our founder, Earl Pace. I mean, we have a robust set of experiences that have been baked for you this weekend, from our professional development experiences, where we're going to dive more deeply into the notion of diversity and inclusion, and there'll be dimensions that have a data component, where we'll look into the DNA of some of our experiences. We'll talk about wearables, and we'll talk about automation, and we'll talk about analytics. We have new friends in this quest, in this mission, and that will be joining us. Northwestern Mutual is one of those new friends that you will have an opportunity to learn more about them, as well as some of those who've been along for the ride for quite some time, Lilly and J&J and Google and others. We'll also have experiences that are focused on career development as well, and entrepreneurship. We, in parallel, I hope you've had an opportunity to engage within the Air Force's HBCU Collider. They have a parallel experience happening where there's the ability to take advantage of contracts within the Air Force. I think they have an $80 million budget and looking for ways to engage more with historically Black colleges and small businesses. There's entertainment available. Fortunately for you all, I'm not a part of the entertainment, but there will be a comedy show and jazz and other opportunities to kick back and enjoy our time together here. While we aren't in person, we try to push the tech to the limit to create creative ways to build together and grow together. Our theme this year is focused on togetherness and excellence. I mean, we have really anchored our experience on ensuring that we can build our future not on an island, but together. And we've also anchored our theme around excellence. And we certainly hope by the time you leave our experience that you will agree that we've achieved that objective. So let's get into the agenda a bit. I'm going to invite our friends at Molson Coors, Michael, to join me if he's able to. And Michael is actually a senior manager of community affairs at Molson. He's been there for a number of years at this point. I'll allow him to share more about that. But he is very vested in the partnership with BDPA, what we're doing at the national level, and what we're doing in Milwaukee. So, Michael, certainly welcome to our kickoff this morning, and please share more about yourself and Molson.
Sure. Thank you, Terry. I will go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, BDPA Con 21. I'm Michael Nordman, as Terry mentioned, and I serve as the Senior Manager of Community Affairs at Molson Coors Beverage Company. For those of you who may be less familiar with the Molson Coors name, we are a total beverage company known for our famous beer brands like Miller Lite, Coors Light, and Blue Moon, but also for our newer hard seltzers like Vizzy and Topo Chico, and non-alcohol products like Zoa Energy. I want to thank the BDPA staff and board for putting together another great virtual conference this year and for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. Molson Coors has had a long-standing support of the African-American community and has been a proud partner of the BDPA for nearly a decade. We have active leadership in our hometown communities of Milwaukee and Chicago, and I want to give a special shout out to Rosemary Smith, who is an active leader in the Milwaukee community. We are proud to invest in BDPA and their goals to support economic empowerment for those professionals and students who are the current and future leaders in STEM, IT, and computer science fields. It's critical that we create the next generation of leaders and build a growing pipeline of diverse African-American talent in the workforce. When we ensure a diverse representation with seats at the table, we will find that the next new innovation or breakthrough much more quickly, because we all know that diversity makes us stronger and encourages us to think differently. At Molson Coors, we believe in the concept of uniting together, which means we are stronger when we come together than when we try to solve problems as one. One example of this is that we've united together to champion diversity in many ways throughout our communities, but none more timely and critical than our Project Justice program. Project Justice is our commitment of $1.5 million annually invested in social justice organizations that are focused on equality, empowerment, community building, and justice for our Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. 2021 marked our second year of the program, bringing our total investment to $3 million towards advancing the racial and economic justice work of 33 organizations across our hometown and brewery communities in North America. While Project Justice was a direct response to the rising injustices we have seen over the last 2 years, Molson Coors has had a strong history of support in this area. We were one of the first two founding sponsors of the Thurgood Marshall College Fund when it launched in 1983. Through our Coors Light Classic Games, we have supported scholarships for students at HBCUs for more than 30 years. And we also have decades-long partnerships with the NAACP and National Urban League. But our work is nowhere near done. At Molson Coors, we're continuing to build a more inclusive culture. And I encourage you all to explore the many opportunities we have available at the company. We will have recruiters in attendance to identify talent, and our doors are always open. So I do hope you'll consider joining us. Plus, we'll be offering some special giveaways and discounts on branded merchandise during the conference that you should be on the lookout for. And with that, I want to once again thank the BDPA for the critical work you are doing in allowing us to be a partner and ally in that work, because we know it's only through the support of our brands by consumers like you that we're able to continue giving back to the community. We hope that you'll enjoy and discover more of our products and job opportunities at molsoncoors.com. And we look forward to continuing our partnership with BDPA in the future. Cheers, and I'll now pass it back over to Terry.
Well, Michael, thank you again. And I think we have a video that we'll play at this point.
Perfect, thank you.
Well, there appears to be a little delay in the video. I'll tap dance for a second or two and see if we can work through that. But certainly, it's been a great partner with Molson here in the last several years. The last in-person experience that we had in Atlanta, we had a great opportunity to engage off-site, a bit away from our convention site in Atlanta, but it was a great opportunity just to experience the Molson culture and the community that you all were able to bring there and tap into the Atlanta community as well. I agree with you, Michael, that Rosemary's done a phenomenal job bridging that gap in Atlanta. And with Molson and finding ways to build pathways there. So certainly appreciate that partnership.
No, we do as well, and look forward to it, hopefully being back in person next year. So no worries, if the video isn't working, I don't want to hold up our programming. So appreciate it, and we're excited to be a partner and looking forward to the rest of the conference.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, sir. We are recording, and we'll make the video available. We'll blast it out to our community so nobody will miss the opportunity to have an enriched experience with your culture.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, very good. Well, I tell you what, we will move right along. We at BDPA have valued our partnership with key sponsors, one we just spoke to, but another that I've had the pleasure of working for 20 years, Eli Lilly and Company. And I won't steal the thunder for Lilly because they'll have others to share more context in our keynote for this morning. Tim Coleman will be able to contextualize that with his 40 years at Lilly. But let me introduce a friend of mine who will then introduce Tim, Decatur Webster. Decatur is a native of Wilson, North Carolina. She is a manager in clinical operations and optimization at Eli Lilly and Company, and she's responsible for a global team of professionals that are tasked with digitizing, standardizing, and automating clinical systems and technologies. She earned several IT certifications, including Six Sigma Black Belt, targeted audit program, and organizational change management. She is a 2001 computer science graduate from Florida A&M University. Oh, I'm sorry, North Carolina A&T State. My glasses were off for a little bit. She also has an MBA from Indiana Wesleyan back in 2010. She is active in her community. She's passionate about leadership development and advancement. She's married to Carl for 15 years, and they have 3 amazing children, Charlie, Reagan, and Carter. She's a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and she enjoys learning, laughing, and spending quality time with her family. Strong in her beliefs, Decatur is a woman of faith and committed to serving others. She believes technology is the catalyst to creating and exploring a world of endless first-class possibilities, and women are key contributors in influencing and driving IT agendas moving forward. Without further ado, Decatur Webster.
Thank you for that introduction, Terry. I appreciate that. Wanted to share this morning a little bit about Eli Lilly and Company before I introduce one of our fearless leaders, Mr. Tim Coleman. Eli Lilly and Company is a Fortune 500 pharmaceutical company headquartered in Indianapolis, Indiana, with operations in more than 100 countries. Since its inception in 1876, Lilly has been committed to improving the lives of millions of patients in which it serves. Lilly is centered around our purpose to unite caring with discovery to create medicines that make life better for people around the world. As an innovation company, Lilly's primary focus is on developing breakthrough medicines that meet unmet needs in the following areas: diabetes, cancer, cardiovascular, Alzheimer's, immunology, and pain. Lilly continues the hard work to meet real needs of real patients all around the world. While our development of first and best-in-class medicines continue to be the catalyst to the expansion of Lilly's growth, it is Lilly's innovative approach, its culture, and its intentional focus on diversity, which keeps Lilly a top employer of diverse talent. Lilly has received numerous awards and recognition, highlighting its commitment to company's values of integrity, excellence, and respect for people. It's the foundation of how we conduct business and create positive change for people and communities while reducing our environmental impact. Some of these awards include awarded 2021 Diversity Inc. Award as the #3 top companies for diversity. Forbes, we were recognized as America's best large employers. Ethisphere, world's most ethical companies, as well as the Human Rights Campaign Foundations, we received a perfect score. These are only a few of Lilly's awards and recognition for the significant impact it has made on its employees and communities. Lilly further extends its impact by strengthening communities and addressing social issues like racial justice and education that matter to our business, employees, and society. And importantly, information and digital solutions, also known as your IT organization, plays a strategic and critical role in everything we do, from research to development, manufacturing to global services, as well as sales and marketing. You are invited to stop by our virtual booth at the BDPA Career Fair and our College Student Symposium to learn more about career opportunities. At the core of Lilly's company commitment are executive leaders who share not just in the company's vision, but ones who uphold and consistently model Lilly's core values, which continue to stand out, making Lilly one of the best places to work. Today, I have the honor and privilege of introducing one of those leaders, Mr. Tim Coleman. Tim is currently Vice President and Information Officer at Eli Lilly and Company, where he is responsible for delivering IT strategies and solutions for research and development business areas. Tim oversees and directs a global portfolio of digital change initiatives in partnership with global senior business and scientific executives. Projects delivered within his portfolio have been recognized nationally, for digital innovation and visionary leadership, including the CIO 100 Award, 2020 Future Edge 50 Award, and the Bio IT World Best Practice Award in clinical research. Although Tim can often be found driving change, organizational change in the organization, Tim plays many active roles in various communities and universities. Tim is a passionate advocate for STEM youth programs and enjoys giving to support his community. He currently serves as executive champion for BDPA Indianapolis and on the board of directors for the Tech Point Youth Foundation and the National BDPA Education and Technology Foundation. Tim is also currently a board member with the Carnegie Center for Business Analytics and Machine Learning at the Purdue Krannert School of Management. He has previously served on computer science corporate advisory boards for Purdue University, North Carolina A&T State University, and Howard University. In addition to digital corporate leadership, he is an author, an entrepreneur, a biblical finance enthusiast, and an active philanthropist, a people leader, driver of change, strategist, and one power to action. He continues to elevate and make significant impact within Eli Lilly and Company and the organizations in which he serves. Tim's IDS IT organization plays a key role in the development of groundbreaking medicines. Please join me for a brief video highlighting Lilly's commitment to medicine for everyone.
Medicine works in a rich body just as well as a poor body. It's as effective in 90210 as it is in 86503. Medicine will not discriminate against the color of your skin. Medicine pays no attention to the borders we draw to divide ourselves from each other. Because the body you are randomly assigned at birth shouldn't determine how well you are cared for or how hard we work to find answers, partners, and hope. Each one of us deserves to have our story, our gift, our laugh, our lesson, our love, shared with everyone who needs it. We make medicine, not just for some, but for everyone.
BDPA, join me and use your chat emojis in welcoming Eli Lilly's first Black Vice President and Information Officer, Mr. Tim Coleman. Y'all show him some love.
Good afternoon to all of my BDPA colleagues from across the country. Thank you, Decatur, for your very kind and generous words. And thank you, BDPA, for this opportunity. It's been quite a journey. I actually started attending BDPA National Tech Conferences about 15 years ago, and I owe a debt of gratitude to BDPA. The first conference that I attended, I was a manager and relatively early in my career, and I was truly blessed by participating in the conference. I was encouraged by the many African-American IT leaders that I engaged with across the country. I was challenged by the tech workshops and their call to action. I was inspired by the work of our BDPA leaders and our youth in the high school and college competitions. And they helped me see clearly a role that I could play in creating opportunity for the next generation. I was energized by seeing others like me who were aspiring to be or who had already become executive leaders. And so here we are today. Thank you, BDPA. I owe you my gratitude for your inspiration, and I only hope that I have encouraged and supported you in your efforts to advance IT professionals from the classroom to the boardroom. I want to give honor to our founder, Mr. Earl Pace, and also to our national president, Mr. Terry Morris, for their leadership, vision, and resiliency. I have much respect for both of you, much respect. And I appreciate what you have brought to us in challenging us to see BDPA bigger and better each year, even virtually. And although he's no longer with us, I must also give honor to one of the giants of BDPA, the late Mr. Wayne Hicks. I'm so sorry that many of you may not have had the opportunity to meet him. Wayne was Mr. BDPA, and he loved this organization with all of his heart and soul. I can remember when he used to play the key role in the opening ceremony in announcing each of the chapter youth teams. And he did so with the most energy and the most passion and excitement. It was something to behold. And so as I was preparing my comments for today, I couldn't help but to remember a story that involved Wayne and I. At one of our national conferences, Wayne was to introduce me to award the Lilly BDPA Scholarship, something that we've been doing for many years. And it just so happens that we had invited the CIO from Lilly and all of the vice presidents of IT to attend that year. I was a senior director at the time. This is important. I was a senior director. And I was collecting myself before heading to the stage. Well, if you knew Wayne, you knew that he was known for butchering names. But on this day and at this opening ceremony, Wayne actually said my name correctly. The challenge was that he butchered my title. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce Tim Coleman, Vice President of Information Technology for Eli Lilly." I have to be honest, I was mortified because all of my IT leaders were there, and Wayne looks over at me and smiles and gives me a wink. But on my way to the stage, as I was having quite the conversation in my head about the potential fallout from Wayne's gaffe, I decided in that moment that I was going to walk into what Wayne could see and what he spoke into existence that day. The noted author and philosopher Henry David Thoreau once said, "It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see." And so I'm grateful to Wayne Hicks for that prophetic moment and for helping me to see something different that day. And that's what I want to talk about briefly this afternoon. It's not just what you look at in your present state, your current circumstance, your familiar surrounding and situation, but it's what you see into the future that makes the difference and leads to success. And yes, I hear you. We cannot ignore today, but we also can't be consumed or overwhelmed by it either. I'm reminded of my favorite quote that says, "Our dreams must be stronger than our memories. We must be pulled by our dreams rather than pushed by our memories." And this has taught me that our dreams, what we see, are maybe more important than our memories. That to move forward, we can't focus on looking backward. We must look forward. When I was growing up, we used to say, "You are what you eat." This was like a national anthem for our parents and teachers who were trying to get us to eat right and be healthy. Some of you may remember that, and some of us can definitely take heed to that advice even today. You are what you eat. And we used to laugh and talk about each other. When one was eating turkey, we'd say, "You are most definitely a turkey." Or if you were eating ham, we would say, "You are a swine today." And of course, as kids, we meant it in love and jest, well, most of the time. And those were good times spent with good friends. But in a similar way, I want you to think for a few minutes with me on the thought, you are what you see. You are what you see. So no matter the stage of your career or your walk in life, your success, that person, place, or thing that you're most interested, that level of position or influence that you are aspiring, it is within your reach only if you can see it. There's often a different passion and energy and excitement to accomplish a goal when you can see yourself doing it. And I can see in our virtual audience today, many lead architects, chief technology officers, chief information officers, chief digital officers, and even CEOs. But what do you see? As a coach and mentor for many, I recognize that often the best advice and counsel is barely in the answer that I'd like to give. The best advice is usually posed in the form of a question. You see, an answer is temporary. An answer may only have relevance for the moment. It may only satisfy for the short term. But here's the important thing. A question will have you thinking for a long time. A good question from a good mentor is like a gold nugget for the mind that you can think on, that you can inspect from multiple dimensions and reflect on for a long time. All of my best mentors understood the art of asking good questions. So my question for you today, and remember I'm talking to the future leaders of IT, is what do you see? What do you see as the opportunity in information technology? What do you see as the opportunity in our community? And what do you see in yourself? I think we would all agree that we're living in the golden age of technology. We're living in a time when technology excites us, it entertains us, technology amazes us, it challenges us, and it enables us to experience life differently. Technology is all around us, and it's become an essential part of our daily lives. The rise of tech has and is creating new possibilities. In the health and life sciences industry where I work, we will look back on this decade as the most important time. The reimagining of our industry, thanks to the combined forces of smart devices, global connectivity and cloud power, data and analytics. And these are the technologies that are emerging and ready to dominate. Some of them call them the DNA of the new age of technology. And so what is in this DNA? D is for devices and data. Devices are smarter, faster, cheaper, and loaded with sensors. Many of them include micro buttons and chips. Skin stickers can now capture vital body statistics, and adjustable sensors can give the real view of what's happening inside your body. Beacons in airports and retail stores and hospitals are now a reality, and manufacturing plants leverage IoT for efficiency and quality. Mobile phones, apps, browsers, sensors, and fitness devices are some of the avenues through which data is now regularly captured. And as we've collected more data in the last 2 years than over the last 20 years, data has become the new oil. N is for networks and connectivity. The proliferation of connectivity across the world is a big boost to the tech aspirations of mankind. And as countries grow faster and internet connectivity gets more reliable, it will continue to fuel innovation. It will boost new technologies like drones and robots and autonomous cars. And the widespread availability of cloud and internet access will open the door even wider for the rapid collection, transmission, and analysis of data. And so if D is devices and data and N is networks and connectivity, A is for advanced analytics. The huge collection of data opens the possibility for rich analysis and insights. The processing power and new software frameworks help us to analyze the significant amounts of data being collected. Not only are we now capable of analyzing the past, but we can predict the future. We can see new patterns and even make relevant recommendations. As an example, we're all used to Amazon recommendations, but we also now have recommendations for clothing, for food to eat, for restaurants to visit, and new products to try. And as the data gets enlarged and enriched, machine learning and analytics will only power connected intelligence and make our jobs and decision-making better. And this disruption is just beginning across many industries. Well, this DNA is connecting technology dots and creating disruptive ideas which are scaling fast and causing major shifts in business, economic models, government, and in our daily lives. It's helping us solve many of the world's biggest problems. Better health systems, predictive diagnostics, safer driving, removing language barriers, and greener technologies, just to name a few. The possibilities are immense, and it's probably the most exciting time for IT professionals ever. And so I ask you the question, IT leader, what do you see? not just what others see, but what do you see as an IT professional positioned at the precipice of the tech revolution? How are you spreading your wings and how are you growing your influence in your company or organization? How are you expanding your tech knowledge, your expertise, and your horizons? Now is your time. We need your leadership, your vision, and resiliency. And now is your opportunity to lead IT. But you must see yourself first in the place and in the position that you desire to be. So let's talk a little bit about impact in the community. This weekend, we're powered together a revolution of excellence. For more than 40 years, BDPA has enabled the upward mobility of African Americans and other minorities in IT and STEM. And I applaud you. I applaud all of this because I've been a part of it. You are the leading and most recognized organization in enabling digital leadership preparedness for aspiring diverse professionals. And you've been doing STEM before it was even popular. But BDPA, what do you see? The digital divide may be news today, but it's not news. The term actually had its official genesis in a 1995 report from the US Department of Commerce on falling through the net. And this was a report about the haves and have-nots in both urban and rural America. But now fast forward 25 years later, and the powerful need and the purpose that propelled BDPA from its inception still is. Just consider these facts, and this really blew me away. In 2020, 20 million Americans could not afford internet access. And of course, that was made more intense by the pandemic. 30% of K-12 students, 30%, don't have the tools necessary to engage in remote learning. That's 1 out of 3 children. And 60% of lower income parents say their children face digital obstacles in just completing their homework. So we talk about it as a digital divide, but if we're honest, it sounds like digital devastation. So we must face the brutal facts. Long ago, we used to refer to the basics of education as reading, writing, and arithmetic. I was going to say the 3 R's, but that doesn't quite fit. And I think we would all agree that these are still of critical importance. However, it's past time that we add digital skills and information technology to this list and begin early, even during kindergarten, to teach and train our children in the basics of information technology. It's important that our educators are first equipped with the methodology and tools, and not just the stuff, but the confidence to teach our students who tend to be a little bit more tech savvy, digital skills. It's imperative that our students, especially those who are participating in BDPA, are equipped with the digital knowledge and skills, not just to consume technology like smartphones and video games and social media, but I'm talking about the invention side of technology, software development, robotics, analytics, and critical thinking, as these are the things that inspire new possibilities for life, work, and community. So BDPA, without your influence to bring about digital equity and inclusion, tech will be a barrier to entry and a steep obstacle to our community in modern society. And this is a city imperative, it's a state imperative, and it's a national imperative. From a personal perspective, I'm grateful for an African-American gentleman whose name I do not know and whose face, unfortunately, I do not remember. This gentleman started a computer camp on the corner of 46th Street and College Avenue in Indianapolis. At the time, I was in 6th grade, and I was innocently riding my bike down the street. And this man comes out of his storefront, and he says, "Do you want to learn about computers?" And for me, every year that I come to BDPA, I give tribute to that gentleman who planted the seeds of digital in me. In 1 week, he not only taught me about computers and how to program in BASIC, but he taught me how to design and develop my first video game, and that was Pong. Some of you guys will have to go look that up. And this was in 1980, even before Atari and many of the popular video games. And so here I am today because this African-American gentleman had the courage to open a computer science camp, a storefront for kids in my hood, and he cared enough to ask a simple question and invest in my future. And because he was able to see a future for me in IT back then, I was able to see it myself and then realize that vision. Again, I was able to see myself in IT because of him and then realize that vision. And that's very powerful. Reflecting on my years of BDPA national conferences, I'm amazed at the great work of this organization. And it's not just about the numbers of people and the youth that have been impacted, but I also know many of the faces and their success stories personally. I think about Angel Henry when she was a systems analyst and she did her first BDPA Indianapolis workshop on project management and agile approaches. And she was encouraged, many of us encouraged her to do the same at the BDPA National Conference. Today, she's a senior director of transformation value at Genesis. She's a motivational speaker and president of Angel Speaking. And she recently published her first book, Dents in the Ceiling, Tools for Women and Allies for Breakthrough. And I am so proud of Angel. I think of Kareem De Silva, who I met at a national BDPA conference when he was a computer science student at the University of Memphis. He probably doesn't know that I remember this. But with the help of Wayne Hicks, Kareem went back home and he started up the Memphis BDPA chapter. And here's what's amazing about his story. In his first year as president, his chapter brought 12 college students who had never before attended a professional conference to BDPA. If that's not the spirit of BDPA, I don't know what is. So I see you, Kareem. We see you, Kareem, and we are inspired by the work that you're doing. I think about Keith Harding, who I met at the first BDPA, my first BDPA national conference. We were both from Indianapolis, but we didn't know each other. And we were blown away, literally blown away by BDPA, that we determined to go home and start the Indianapolis BDPA chapter, and we did that. And today, Keith is CEO of Ryan Consulting. It's one of the fastest growing minority tech enterprises in the Midwest. Keith has often told me that he looks up to me, but Keith, I look up to you. I think of Gina Christopher, who I met early in her professional IT career. And if you know Gina, you know she has a heart of gold and a heart for her people. Gina and I worked together very closely for about a year to make strategic investments in BDPA. And fast forward to 2021, Gina is now a senior manager of product management for Deloitte and a digital solution strategist and delivery leader. And importantly, Gina is still sowing seeds in the BDPA as our National Conference Experience Director. And so Gina, as I often tell you, soar higher and keep looking up. And then lastly, I think about Terry Morris, and there's a lot of things that I could say about Terry. There's actually a lot of things that I'd like to say about Terry, but I'll keep those to myself for now. With encouragement, Terry presented his first BDPA national workshop on best practices in IT summer intern programs. He probably doesn't think that I remember that. And at the end of his presentation, he almost got caught up and got happy. But those who know Terry know that he is a mover and a shaker. And not long after that time, he went from associate to manager and then to director in just a few years. He became the president of the BDPA Indianapolis chapter, helped us become chapter of the year, and today, of course, we know him as our national president. I couldn't be more proud of Terry. He is a true champion of BDPA and our cause. But don't tell him that I said that. Let's keep that as our secret. So I could call many more names, but fortunately, you'll be able to experience many of them on the national stage at BDPA this weekend. So Earl and most recently Terry have brought us to this point in our history. What is your vision for BDPA and our impact in the community? IT leader, what do you see? And how can we continue to make our purpose and our programs relevant for today? Those are important questions for our BDPA leaders and for all of us to think about and act upon. We need BDPA more than ever before. And we can't be satisfied with what we've done in the past. Now is the time, now is our opportunity to lead our community out of the digital divide and into digital equity and inclusion. Now let's talk about you. Your dreams are your life purpose. Never give up. It's not as important what others see or even say, but what do you see? What do you see in yourself and for yourself? I'm reminded of a story of a young boy from the Caribbean who started out as an aspiring swimmer. And since a young child, he dreamed and desired of becoming an Olympic swimmer. But when Hurricane Hugo invaded his homeland in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, it destroyed the only available Olympic-sized pool on his island. And you can imagine he was devastated and his dream seemed to be shattered. But this young man didn't give up. He had played basketball in high school, which he started in 9th grade, and he was actually pretty good. He went on from high school in St. Croix to play for Wake Forest University, where in his senior year, he received the Naismith National College Player of the Year Award. After graduating, he went on to play for the San Antonio Spurs, and not only was he Rookie of the Year this first year, but Tim Duncan became a 5-time NBA champion, a 2-time NBA MVP, and a 15-time NBA All-Star. He's the only player to be selected for both All-NBA and All-Defensive teams for 13 consecutive years. Not only did he play in the Olympics and win a gold, but he became one of the greatest power forwards of all time and one of the greatest players in NBA history. And this is what I like about Tim. He used his wealth off the court to start the Tim Duncan Foundation to raise health awareness and to fund education and youth sports programs. So your dreams are your purpose. Sometimes life will throw storms, even hurricanes your way, but never give up. Tim had to see his situation differently and be resilient until success was achieved. When you meet with a senior IT leader, don't just ask them about the qualities that it takes to be successful. Yes, that's an important question, but there's an even better question, a deeper question that you should ask. Ask them, what have you been through? Tell me about your journey and what did it take for you to become who you are today? And then get comfortable, because you might need a little bit of time for them to tell the real story of their ups and downs, of the mountaintop moments and the valley disappointments, of great success and hope, as well as frustration and sometimes despair. If you give them time, they will tell it. Well, obviously, I'm not Tim Duncan, but I am Tim Coleman. And it may be a surprise to some that I've heard almost as many no's in my professional career as yeses. I can still remember as an associate sitting down with my HR representative about 25 years ago. And he told me unequivocally, no, Tim, we do not see you with potential to be an IT manager. Like many, I was momentarily crushed and I felt rejected. I was frustrated, and it took several days and weeks, if I'm honest, months, to work through that. But I have to be honest, that was the best thing that he could have ever said to me. Because of that no, I had to regroup. I had to refocus on my strengths and values. I had to recommit my energy and passion to fulfill my dream and my purpose with excellence. And I had to become a student of effective leaders. I had to see myself differently than what I had been told. Let me say that again. I had to see myself differently than what I had been told. Someone once said that a setback can be a setup for something better. Well, it was that no that not only catapulted me from associate to manager, but it was my launch pad when I heard that same message, no, at each level as I climbed the organization from manager to director, from director to senior director, and from senior director to my current role as vice president and information officer. I sometimes think about what would have happened if I had allowed that person, that worthless HR person, regardless of their intent and motivation, to deter and defer my dream. What would have happened if I had settled for less? Settled for what he saw for me versus what I saw for me. Well, you can turn that no into a yes for yourself. And then importantly, as a leader, you can do that also for others. There's a quote that says, never quit. If you stumble, get back up. Whatever happened yesterday no longer matters. Today is another day, so get back on track and move closer to your dreams and goals. You can do it. So your dreams are your life purpose. Never give up. Now is your time. We need your leadership, your vision, and your resiliency. And now is your opportunity to see the champion in you and lead and succeed. Keep that dream alive and dare to see yourself playing bigger. So I think I'm going to stop here. And I just want to thank you, BDPA, and say thank you to the late Wayne Hicks for that inspiration. You are what you see. Thank you for helping me as an early IT professional to see beyond my situation. And it's with that same vision that I can now see, not just for me, but for you also. I can see you succeeding and leading in IT, from digital to your career and even entrepreneurship. I can see BDPA as the beacon of digital equity for more youth and for diverse IT professionals. And I can see us as the leading source for diverse talent for companies and for our entire community. And lastly, and most importantly, I can see you as a champion. Be bold. Don't settle. You are what you see. And even if you cannot see your hero, become one for someone else. Thank you for your attention. And I'll turn it over to Terry or Goldie to help facilitate Q&A.
Well, that was awesome. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the recording again because I couldn't just keep up with all the nuggets you were sharing on today. I know I have to see you a lot, so I have to be careful about how much I pump you up here too much because, but I have to be honest and say that was a great way to start this experience. And I'll tell those who don't know you, he is what you saw. He is as authentic, and there are many of people watching and countless others who have benefited from the journey of Mr. Coleman. So thank you for imparting so many words of wisdom on today. We do have time for questions. So if anyone would like to pop a question in the chat line, or if you're brave enough to come on video, you're welcome to do it live. I believe that capability is there, but it's definitely available for you to add to the chat. Tim, you talked about really connecting beyond just what we have had the opportunity to do ourselves. Can you, and I know you're a consummate reader and you're always sharing resources. Are there any books that you would offer that model even some of the behaviors that you put forth for us today? I know that there are some because you've given me some, but any that you'd offer to share with this community?
Yeah. So there's two books that I would recommend. One is a book called Good to Great. It's actually one of my favorite in the literature, in the business literature, that talks about what separates good companies from great companies. And I think it will give great insight into what executives are facing and how you as a leader can be effective. There's a lot of gold nuggets there. And then there's another book, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the author, but it's called Perfect North. And it is specifically about leadership, and it's about how to understand and discover your true north and how to put that into action. So two books I'd recommend.
Oh, thank you. Now, one of those I think you gave me my Good to Great book, but the other one you held out on me because I don't think I've heard of that Perfect North book. So
you got to be ready for it. You got to be ready for it, Terry.
I think Mr. Pace has a question.
I do. And I know I'll have an opportunity to say something, I think, at the end of this. But Tim, could you think a little bit about some of the benefits that you received in dealing directly with the Indianapolis chapter? We talk a lot about BDPA as an overriding entity, but the work is done at those chapters. And that's where you get some direct help from people or direct input. You think a little bit about your experience in the Indianapolis chapter and how it's benefited you on your career path.
Yep. Absolutely. BDPA has been a very instrumental part of my career, and I want to give kudos to Joe Blair, who is our current president for the Indianapolis chapter. They're doing an awesome job. I think there's a few things that really are of significant value, not just for me, but for all of us that have been a part of the chapter. One are tech workshops that challenge us to improve in terms of our technical skills. Terry often hears me say that, in the past, we could rely on getting a degree in computer science as our pathway to be successful in a long career. But I don't think that's true anymore. We have to be continual learners, taking courses, getting certified, reading constantly about our discipline and about technology in order to be relevant and to stay relevant for the long term. So those tech workshops are huge. And that's where a lot of the personal benefit came from. Secondly, it's the work that we do with youth. There's nothing, I think the best way for you to learn as a leader is to be able to teach something, or to learn an expertise, or to build knowledge is to be able to teach that knowledge and expertise to others. And so I think BDPA is a great training ground. It's a great learning ground, not just for the youth, but for us as leaders. Of course, the biggest benefit and the best benefit there is for the youth, but there's also reciprocal benefit for those that are playing in the instructor role. And then last but not least, it's a fabulous network. It's a great opportunity to engage with others who are in our field, to meet others in other companies, and to be able to share best practices. So those would be some of the things, again, that I think have been a benefit to me, but also to many in the Indianapolis chapter.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Payson. Thank you for that, Tim. We have a question that came online. What steps can I take to make sure that they are aligning themselves with people and organizations that dream as big as they do? Not everyone is fortunate as we are that work at Lilly.
I think that's a very good question. I would offer it's a hard question, but one thing that I think is very important to your career is having a mentor and a sponsor. And a lot of times we get caught up in what's a sponsor and what's a mentor. My encouragement to you is that don't get caught up in that conversation. You need people who will believe in you, who will take the time to understand your dream, and who will help you to understand the steps that you need to take to achieve that. I remember that I was participating in a diversity and inclusion exercise with other members of our IDS lead team, our IT lead team at Lilly. And it was one of those exercises where you step forward if you have been a part of that experience, or you step back if you've not. And one of the questions that was asked was, how many of you have a mentor that played an instrumental role in you becoming what you are today? And again, these were the vice presidents and senior directors across our leadership team. 99% of the people in the room stepped forward. I think there was only one person that stepped back. And if they're honest, they're probably in denial. All of us are reliant on others to accomplish our dreams and aspirations. And I think a mentor and a sponsor can play a pretty tremendous role in helping you, but also providing advocacy and helping others to see that dream.
Thank you for that, Tim. The next question is there anything you would tell your younger self 5 years into your career to do differently?
I was just talking with one of our summer interns this morning, and my advice to them was be bold. Don't sit in the back of the room. Don't be bashful. Don't be shy. Of course, you got to learn the ropes. You got to understand the dynamics that are happening in the room and in your team and in the organization that you're a part of. But be bold. Now is the time to step forward. Now is the time to make your voice heard. And so I think the greatest thing that this next generation can do is be bold. There has never been a better time to be in information technology, ever. And again, I encourage you to be bold.
Well, very good, very good. Well, Tim, you've been very gracious with your time, and I couldn't be happier than now with the experience you've created for us to kick things off. So we have a great week ahead. Thank you again, Tim, for the keynote. We will be publishing this so that others can benefit from all the nuggets that you've shared. So thank you this morning.
Thank you, and everybody have a wonderful conference. Very
good. Well, I'm going to transition us. We are fortunate to have Mr. Earl Pace with us this morning. Mr. Pace, as Tim alluded and I earlier, was one of the founders of this great organization. You know, so I actually did a little poking around this morning to say, are there some secrets about Mr. Pace that I can share publicly? and I don't know if they're secrets, but they were at least new dimensions of his profile for me. But they were in plain sight on LinkedIn. I actually didn't know that there was a period where he served as a senior vice president at a bank. It didn't surprise me, now that I think about your profile and kind of how, and the questions that you've asked me along this journey. But that was a bit of your profile that I was not aware of, and your engagement with the American Arbitration Association. And I'm certain that there's some neat stories that you can't tell us much about from your time with that group. But I'll say this: it has been an honor to carry your vision forward over the last several years as the national president, and certainly hope that we've stewarded your vision well. So Mr. Pace, you have the floor. Would love to have you welcome us officially and share some nuggets of wisdom as we launch into the rest of our conference.
Thank you, Terry, and congratulations on putting together these virtual conferences in light of what's happening to the world. And to Tim, I'm happy that I missed the opening. I was challenged a little bit technically when I had to reboot, so I was trying to find the link, but when I came on, there was Tim. Mm-hmm. And Tim, I think you set up the point that I wanted to make to the attendees better than anyone else could. And that is, BDPA has been for 46 years training tens of thousands of students, preparing young professionals for starting their career. We even spun off a leadership group over our 46-year period. And all of this work has been done in our chapters. We talk a lot about BDPA and our conferences and our national exposure. But where does all of the work happen? It happens in those chapters that come together every month, come together on regular periods, work directly with those students, give advice to that young professional who's just gotten his first promotion to a management position. And we talk about how important it is to use that selfish and social motive that's been built into BDPA. We always show a career path and say, it's great for you if you are on step 2 to look back on step 1 and help that person who was on step 1 to move to step 2. And that way you get to our mantra, which is classroom to the boardroom. This is my 43rd national conference. I've been to all of them. At some point in time, you have to consider how many more of these will I get to. So if there are some that come in the future and you have some doubts, hear my voice talking to you. Make sure you are active in a BDPA chapter. It will ingratiate you. It may even make you a Tim Coleman, but it certainly will improve your lot in this industry. Enjoy the conference, and I hope to be with you for many, many more.
Well, I too hope that we're both at many, many more BDPA conferences to come. Mr. Pace, you are one of those individuals who have set the mold for what leadership in an IT and digital landscape looks like. And so thank you for your vision and your persistence in ensuring that that BDPA is alive and well. So this has been a great start to a wonderful conference. So we hope that you all lean into the experience, that you treat this like you've gone off to Atlanta, and you try to hide from your other work. I know that may be a little bit of art, but try to use this window to invest in yourself. Do like Mr. Coleman suggested. Use this time to even begin to see your next level of possible, see your next level of potential, and view this as a training ground to facilitate that. So we have a litany of experiences that are lined up for you. I hope the platform is treating you well. Reach out to us if there's anything we can do to support you in your journey. Thank you for joining us this morning, and I look forward to engaging with you all throughout the rest of the weekend. Take care.